Culture Vulture on a Wednesday afternoon. And before I said that we were going to be talking about twins, but only partly. Today, on a broader scale, we'll be talking about marriage culture in general. And there's only really one person in the studio who's qualified to talk about that anyway.
Thank you very much.
And that is you, Peter Vince.
The love expert. Well, I would be at a loss for words in this marriage, or potential marriage, I should say, because they're just engaged at the minute. I mentioned it briefly in the opening, but Perth twins, Anna and Lucy de Cynic, are the people in question. They're identical twins.
Perth, Australia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've recently, in the past couple of months, started starring on this new TLC show called Extreme Sisters. They're the stars of this show, which looks at just how much they do things together. Apparently they were always close, but after their father died of cancer, they got even closer. And they felt like doing absolutely everything together. And when I say that, I mean that, like from eating always together, to showering together, to going to the bathroom always together.
I saw this story, yeah. Their own mother had some input. She had her own idea, right? Like if they had a baby, their mom said, well, if one twin had a baby, then that one twin is that baby's mother. But the twins, they disagreed. They say, no, we are both that baby's mother. This is a really extreme example of twins.
Yes.
Like I said, I've known twins in the past, but they were never, not even close to this level.
Yeah, and in the most recent episode of Extreme Sisters, their boyfriend, and I do mean their boyfriend, he's a guy called Ben Bryan. He's been dating both of them knowingly, fully, for a decade. He's 37 and they're both 35. Well, he took them on the picnic and then he popped the question to both of them. And they said yes. It was a band with 3 parts to it representing each person in the relationship.
Will you, marry, me?
What he did, and I think
That's the winning question.
I would have felt a little aggrieved if I was one of these. He said, Anna, you mean the world to me and I want to spend my life with you. And Lucy, you mean the world to me and I want to spend my life with you too. I love you both. If I was second in that list with a 2 at the end, I'd feel a little aggrieved, I think.
Yeah. Lucy, ditto.
The same to what I just said.
Yeah, but okay, so yeah, it seems like this is the type of story where we can judge quite easily, right? But these 2 sisters see themselves as one person. That's why they shower together. That's why they go to the washroom together. That's why they're dating the same guy. That's why they're engaged to the same guy. They don't see themselves as 2 separate people. They see themselves as one person. So you kind of got to wrap your mind around that a little bit to help you understand, right?
I think so, yeah, because they get a lot of anxiety if they're not together, right? They sleep all together in the same bed as well every single day. If one of them does a chore for 5 minutes, the other one has to do the same chore for 5 minutes, like vacuuming, and they watch each other do it as well.
Remember that Czech couple I talked about on the news the other day that just took the handcuffs off? They tried the experiment from Valentine's Day. They kept on breaking up and getting back together.
Okay.
They finally took the handcuffs off last week, and they are breaking up. These 2 sisters are doing that whole experiment without the handcuffs, and they're doing it because they get along so well, which is the ironic twist on it.
Yeah. The downside to this is Australia doesn't allow 3 people to get married.
Right.
So this is a big stumbling block. So they're having to look into other options, which include going abroad to be able to fulfill their dreams.
And when we come back, we'll find out which countries they can go to fulfill that dream. Before that, though, let's hear this, a song requested by Jin Young. This is Shawn Mendes, 305. Culture Vulture, today we're talking marriage culture. And just before the break, we heard about these 2 twin sisters from Perth, Australia, who are engaged to the same guy. But according to Australian law, legally they cannot get married in the country, so they're going to have to go somewhere else. And Pete has the answers for where they can go.
Yeah, so the act of marrying more than one person, right, is polygamy. And then that's kind of split up into 2, right? Polygyny or gyny, which is when a man can marry multiple women, and then polyandry, when a woman can marry multiple men.
Interesting.
Right? And I think some of these figures are quite surprising. There's about 200, nearly 200 sovereign states in the world. How many do you think it is legal for polygamy to occur, to marry more than one person, either a man to many women or a woman to many men?
Okay. I would guess the number would be quite low. Out of 200, I will say 25.
25. Okay, Kate.
That's hard. 25?
So it's about
about right,
10%, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, about 10%. It's surprising. It was surprising to me. 58.
Okay.
So more than a quarter of countries in the world.
But we hear that sometimes, don't we? That just because a law exists, if you look at American laws, for example, you'll find laws from the 1700s that are in the charter or whatever, but nobody follows them anymore and they're not enforced anymore. So that doesn't necessarily mean that just because 58 countries around the world allow this, that's what the culture says as well? Or does the culture say, yeah, then go ahead and do it, and people do?
No, that's a great point. Only about 2% of the global population actually lives in polygamous relationships. But if you go to certain countries, because it's most prevalent in Africa and in Asia and also in Muslim countries as well, right? So in some parts of Africa, it's as high as 30% to 35% in places like Mali and Burkina Faso, where it's kind of culturally ingrained. And then for a lot of the Middle Eastern states like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, where it's known that that's legal, there's no data available. So we're just not actually sure how many people live in those relationships. But yeah, it's overwhelmingly the polygyny, which is more common, right? Where men can marry multiple women. And it's usually to do with the religion of that country, the history, right? But it's interesting because, Muslim, Islam, and Christianity kind of have similar origins. And in the Bible and the Torah, there are instances of plural marriages, like with Abraham, Jacob, and David, if you look at them. And it wasn't until actually the Middle Ages that Christianity kind of disavowed that. And now in the majority of Western states, it's not allowed. But in England and Australia, they do recognize polygamous marriages performed abroad. Like legally, they will accept your culture.
Oh, so these twin sisters, if they go to another country and have a legal ceremony, they can come back to Australia
Yes.
and be recognized as married by the Australian government.
Absolutely.
mean-
That's the loophole.
Doesn't that just mean that the Australian government or the British government should just say, oh, yeah, okay, let's just consider it legal because they're just going to go somewhere else and get married anyway, so why don't we just let them do it here?
It does seem like just a bit of admin, something like
Yeah,
that,
it
right?
seems like just the red tape.
Yeah, and there are a few countries like that who will legally recognize it, but so they're thinking the twins case of going nearby to Malaysia or Indonesia, where it is legal. They're actually taking things one step further. You mentioned the mother who thought, if you have a daughter, then you are the mother. So they are planning on getting pregnant at exactly the same time
Oh, wow.
via IVF.
Wow.
Yeah, just to make it scientifically sure, because they were like, it's going to be weird if you're pregnant and I'm not, because we feel like one body.
Oh, right. That would be a nightmare for them.
Yeah, you couldn't then do everything together. They're stumbling into a few issues, and you saw it on the series. One of them had an infected tooth and then had to get it removed. So the other sister said to the dentist,
Take my tooth out?
yeah, take my healthy tooth out. And the
Okay.
dentist refused. The
Yeah,
dentist said,
of course.
there's nothing wrong with this tooth. I'm not taking it out.
Yeah.
So they're finding it increasingly difficult. And there are going to be limitations, right? But from their point of view, they just want to be the same.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't get it, but I get it. I guess because that's for them, right? So that's their twin thing that they're doing. But isn't it going to get harder and harder as they go along? Let's say that they do become pregnant at the same time. Well, they're both going to have children, hopefully healthy children. But then what happens when their children grow up to have different personalities and they're not twins and they don't want to spend all their time with each other? Because I'm wondering if they're going to project that onto their children the way that they lived their own lives.
And I think, like with the whole thing about marriage, let's say they do go through that loophole, they get legally married, they come back to Australia, they're recognized as a legal married couple. But, when they start a family like that, how are they gonna relate to like who's mom and dad? And the whole relationship is complicated to another level. I can't
This is
imagine.
a super modern family.
Yes, absolutely.
Ultra modern family.
Oh my
Pushing the
goodness
boundaries.
me, yeah.
But, they did this survey in the US asking about polygamy and whether you thought it was morally acceptable. Again, the results kind of surprised me. 1 in 5 said, yes, if that's what you want to do, if
Yeah.
you're happy doing it.
Yeah. Well,
Fine.
that's very much a Western thinking style response, though.
Right. You do you, I'll do me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing with your life. You make your own decisions. If it doesn't have an impact on me, I honestly don't care.
Yeah. And I guess, in the past, societies were made up differently. And if we talk about animals, there's obviously harems and stuff like that. So it's all about your personal opinion, I suppose.
What do you think, Kate? 2 husbands. Wait, you and I are doing our vows. This was not discussed at the beginning of the show.
We're bringing in a
Sorry,
special
Steve.
guest in the last part.
No, honestly though, what do you think? Two husbands? Because maybe on the surface,
Yeah.
some guys might look at this guy in the story and say, "Oh wow, what a dream." I don't think so. I think that would be a really, 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 really difficult situation to be in.
Sure.
Right.
2 husbands. What do you think?
You know how Angie always jokes that her husband is like the second son? I'm pretty sure your wife says the same thing about you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want 2 extra sons on my hands. So, no thank you. I think 1 is enough for me.
Good call.
Interesting, Pete. Thanks for that today. Do stay with us for hour number 2. It's Blood Pop and Haley Steinfeld to wrap up the first capital letters. World in Words. Today, Kate and I get married.
We'll see how it holds up in a court of law. But since you're ordained,
And I say
Steve,
I say that with complete humility.
you know where she wants it.
Winner, winner,
I know-
chicken dinner.
Do I know what women want or what?
Yeah, so we're talking about weddings, getting married, polygamy is maybe not romantic for some, but in this World in Words, I thought it would be interesting to look at wedding vows like around the world. And also, then you guys, hopefully in the song break, can come up with a few lines to one another. Have you ever thought of that yet? Like wedding vows, what you want to say, or does it really depend on the person?
I've written mine to Kate already.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Have
You're not even
yours?
prepared? No. What does this relationship mean to you, Kate?
For me, I remember here in Korea, I don't know, I think they're becoming more popular, but maybe vows weren't such a big thing. You just listen to the jure, the person who's officiating,
Yeah.
and you just say, I do.
When I officiated my friends' weddings, I used Backstreet Boy lyrics.
You
Which
are
ones?
my fire.
Something like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
For my wedding, that was back in 2012 now, so we both wrote them out
Oh,
in
nice.
English and Korean.
What did you say?
And I can't remember. I'm trying to find them because I sent them to a friend to check the Korean translation. And I can't find it in my email.
I thought you were going to say I sent them to a friend so he could use them.
Also that he could write them for me. No, and I remember one line that I still remember to this day. That was probably the most important, and I know I failed in that as well. It was, every day I am going to make you smile or laugh, like I promise, at least once every single day of our lives. I think about 3 years into it, I started faltering, and now she's lucky if she gets a laugh once a week.
Oh, no.
Wedding vows are an interesting thing, aren't they? These promises that you're probably not going to keep forever. Some of them
Yep.
maybe yes, some of them maybe no.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? You make those grand promises. So maybe it's good to just like generalize or not be too specific.
Some people take them really, really seriously, right? But some people have fun with them. I remember when my sister got married to her husband, they had some fun with their vows. Apparently, during their dating time, my sister, by the way, she's quite clumsy. She has always been clumsy. Her ironic nickname in our family is Grace, because she doesn't have any. So one of her vows to her husband was, I promise not to spill wine on the floor, more than once a month.
Oh, that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
I think putting comedy in is good.
Yeah, and it got a little chuckle from the audience or crowd or whatever you call people at a wedding.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of fun. So that's okay to do too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And all around the world, they put emphasis on different things. Just quickly before we go to the song break, maybe the Native American wedding vows, they are a blessing usually. You don't perform them yourself. So the blessing person, the officiant, I suppose, would say that you are now husband and wife, and your feet shall run because of one another. Your feet shall dance because of one another. Your heart shall beat because of one another. Your eyes shall see, and you shall love because of one another. I think it's nice to be romantic as well. I think I should have had these for my
you
vow.
should have borrowed the Native
Copied and
American vows
pasted
for your
them.
own wedding, Pete.
Copied
would've
and
been
pasted it.
I missed a trick.
No, it would have been perfect. She never would have known where
Of
this came
course,
from.
doesn't have any Native American friends. I'm sure of
But you
it.
could have gotten away with that 100%.
Darn it.
Scot-free. Let's come back after 3:30. Here's Dan and Shay and Justin Bieber, 10,000 Hours. Who would go first then, my love?
Do we have some background music
Oh,
as
my.
well? Oh, this is going to be emotional.
Let's get your...
Hold back the tears.
I'm not sure where this puts you guys legally once you say these words as well. Oh,
Even a little reverb there.
Are we getting married in a norebang? Can we turn that off?
we've got some music here though.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Violin.
Shall I go first?
Oh, it's Canon and D. It's a perfect wedding song.
Oh, it is.
Dearest Catherine. Is your name actually Catherine?
No, but it's all right.
My first vow is to never call you Catherine.
Okay.
My second vow is to not ask you to translate the question of the day before I give the question of the day. Because I do that sometimes. But I'll never, ever do it again.
Oh,
My next vow is to read some of the Korean messages. So you don't have to. 쉬세요, 우리 사랑.
this is so sweet.
And my last vow,
Yes.
Kate, 지금보다 더 열심히 공부할 거예요, 한국말. 당연하죠. 케이트 씨가 재미있게 보니까 영어 진짜 잘하는데 한국 사람이니까 제가 더 열심히 공부해야 돼요. 우리 사랑, 케이트 씨.
Got a bit weird, but I like it.
I love how you
Let's
say.
not laugh at your other half's
I just
vows,
opened my
Kate.
heart.
So sorry.
They're all work related, though. I feel I wouldn't want to hear so much about work at my wedding.
You kept saying 우리 사랑, which is what made me laugh.
우리 사랑.
My
Have you
love.
got your vows ready,
Oh yeah.
Kate? Have we got
Okay.
the music again for Kate?
Let me just say, they
Yes.
better be equally impressive.
Don't think that's hard. You got her name
my.
wrong.
I
this
know.
the
you
music
called me
from Rocky?
Catherine. No. This
For
is
the Queen.
Oh,
wedding march thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You may go, Kate.
Oh wow, this is very upbeat music.
Call
Okay.
Steve by his full name, Stephanos.
Stephanos,
my Greek.
Michelangelos, Hatherly.
You just named two of the Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah. When I first saw you, I thought it would never work out. Yet here we are. I can't believe this day has finally come. And I'm excited to embark on this journey or adventure with you. To share every delicious meal with you.
Oh,
And to listen to two true crime podcasts with you.
that's a good vow.
Yeah.
Promise to love me, even if I grow a jelly belly, because you know I love to eat and hate to work out. And promise to tell me I'm beautiful, you know, even if my hair grows gray
This
and I have
doesn't
wrinkles
sound like
over
a
my
vow.
face.
You're asking for favors.
I'm asking for unconditional love without giving the love. I have more. I promise to love Heidi as my own doggini.
My dog.
I'll laugh at your dad jokes,
Yes.
even if I don't find it funny.
Which is usually
I'll cook you your favorite meal from time to time.
time to time.
And promise to be that person to give you a gentle push from behind whenever you stretch before your opening.
I thought you were going to say onto the train tracks.
Over the
Just
cliff.
a gentle push.
This has been lovely. And look at the response. People loving it. I think we should do wedding vows like once a month, like you said, Steve.
We renew our vows
Yes.
every month.
Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get back to your messages. I love this question today. What quality do you look for when you're looking for a potential marriage partner? We'll find out more of your thoughts after Parachute. Kiss Me Slowly.